Hi guys, welcome back to our Dutch farmhouse. Last week we built these beautiful raised beds. I've already planted out my tomatoes. I've also started making a path out of wood chips, but I didn't have enough. So this week I'm definitely going to finish that. I also want to make everything look a lot more pretty, and most importantly, I want to build a garden arbor or an archway that my green beans can grow up against. So let's go. Okay, there are a couple of things that I may have already done. It was just one of these days where I just thought, I'm just gonna finish this a little bit and then I will get my camera, I'll put some makeup on and I'll start filming. But I just kept saying that and eventually it was just done. So I've already built a bed for the strawberries. I have also planted the strawberries already. I actually went and got the old bed from last year, which was in the back of the garden, took it apart and rebuilt it into a bigger bed that is now right here. It's a lower one than the other ones. I've also already planted the strawberries out. Now these strawberries are actually the only thing I didn't sow myself. I actually bought the plants themselves. It just goes a lot faster and they're not really that expensive. So another thing that I did is make this little raised area here with this little wattle fence. If you remember, last week they pruned our willows along the water, and the branches that come off of that are really good to use for things like this. Usually you're supposed to let it dry for a long time. I didn't do that, but we'll see how it holds up. Everything in the garden now was square and straight, obviously, with all of the square garden beds, and I wanted to add some organic shapes, so I did this in a little bit of a curve, and I thought this was a really nice area to be able to grow some flowers, give some color to the garden, and make everything look more pretty. I once again thought that I would get my camera out and actually film things, and then all of a sudden it was done, because this was really just an experiment when I started out. But that's okay, because I'm gonna have to do another one, so I can still show you how I did it. It's really not that complicated and it looks really, really nice. So right in between these little poles here is going to be the archway for the beans, and this is where I had that little fence come out and go that way. And I want to do the same on the left side as well, make it go out that way, make this a little bit more elegant, if you will. So I'm gonna have to look in that pile over there to see if I can find any more branches that are usable for things like this. We'll see. As with any project, there is some planning and calculating required before I can start building something. I want to build an archway that's also a trellis so that I can grow my green beans up against it and be able to walk through it into the garden. So it's kind of going to be the entryway of the garden. So the structure needs to be high enough to be able to walk underneath it, but ideally I can reach the beans that will grow on the top part of it. I decided to make a little bit of a pointy top so it looks a little bit like a roof shape, and I will have to decide what I want to use for the sides, maybe a chicken fence that has holes that are big enough to fit my hand through so that I can pick beans that are on the other side. I don't know. Let's see what they actually have at the hardware store and go from there. Hey puppy, did you come for a cuddle? Where's your bear? Go look. There you go.
Summertime, summertime, love's in its prime.
So in addition to going to the hardware store, I just decided to take a little detour and go to the garden center as well, because there are a couple of things that I want to get. Some pretty flowers, things like lavender and maybe marigold, because I think marigolds are really, really pretty, and they work really well with a lot of vegetable plants because they will attract bees and deter certain pests. So I want to plant some marigolds all around the vegetable garden. I want to see what other kind of flowers they have that will work that way. And then on that raised little bit where the wattle fence is that I showed you, around that rose bush, I think I'm gonna just sow flowers directly into the ground, but to do that, I'm gonna need some proper soil because the soil that's in there now is not really good. So I need a couple of bags of proper garden soil. The garden center that I'm going to is actually one that I haven't gone to before, so I'm pretty excited to see what the inside looks like because I've driven by it 1,000 times and I have no idea.
Adam and Eve, New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, wear it on your sleeve. Who are you counting on?
I have a whole collection of things now that need to go into the garden. It's all kind of set up right here. I have put on a sweater because the sun has gone and it's actually kind of cold. They do say that it's gonna warm up later in the week, so looking forward to that. But I think we're gonna go outside and actually get some things done. So I want to get started with the tunnel for the strawberries. Is that working? Yes. Now you may remember that I actually wanted to do a really long tunnel here. It didn't get that long. I think this is big enough for now, and I can't really tell how many strawberries we're gonna get from this little bit. So this is really cool. I actually saw someone do this. Instead of getting those fancy tunnel pieces that are actually quite expensive, I got these tubes that are actually meant for electricity. I cut them into pieces. These will stick into the ground, and these will actually form the bow for the tunnel, and this slips right over the yellow one, which I thought was genius. And these don't cost anything. So let's see, I'm gonna do 6 hoops, and then we'll put a net over it. I'm gonna stick one in here and one here, right in the corner. I've got 2 longer ones, so they're gonna go in the middle for no reason at all. These will go here. I just want it in far enough for it to be really sturdy. I'm just gonna have to test one to see how deep I actually need them to be, and also how long the gray pieces need to be. I don't know if I have to shorten them. There we go. No more cutting required. It's such an easy solution. I love it. I have tried growing strawberries in previous years, and I've never really been successful, mostly because whenever the strawberries would start to turn red, they would magically vanish. I think we had exactly 3 strawberries for ourselves from our own plants last time. So this time I'm covering the entire thing with a net just to keep the birds out. It's a very simple net that I just pull over these arches that I just made. And then to hold everything in place, I screwed some screws into the sides of the garden bed so that I can hook the net behind that just to keep the wind from blowing it off. Now it's protected against the birds. Bees can still access it. I can very easily water it whenever I need to. And if I want to harvest any strawberries, I can just lift the net off and easily reach everything. Good morning, guys. The weather is stunning today. We are already outside. I actually already did a couple of things because I had to fix something. My zucchinis were looking really, really sad. So I added some things to the soil, and hopefully now they become a little bit more happy. I hope so. I really like zucchini. I really want to get started on that archway today, and I have no idea how I'm gonna do it. I've also no idea where to start, so that should be fun.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go.
Perfect, actually. I'm setting up my saw on the ground. Otherwise I'd have to empty the whole table. I didn't do any super precise angle measuring here. I laid out the posts on the floor in the position that I thought looked good, and then I drew a line along the slanted piece with a pen, and then I set my miter saw to that angle. I just made sure that I cut all of the pieces with that particular angle at the same time so that it wouldn't change. I screwed all of the pieces in place. Now obviously you could make this very complicated if you wanted to hide all of the screws. Personally, I don't really mind the screws being visible when it comes to a structure outside. It's also going to be covered in plants soon, hopefully. So I just screwed everything in the easy way, and then I did some acrobatics to get it off of the table without breaking it.
As beautiful stars, I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me.
And then I made the pieces that will connect the front and the back piece. I drilled pocket holes into them and glued and screwed them in onto one part. Then I laid the other part on top of it and screwed that in place as well.
Stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest. Blow the smoke through my cigarette. City lights looking fine. Oh, this is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do.
I think that's looking pretty good. Just need to add the wire on the sides, and then we're done. 15 and a half, not 15 and a half. For someone who always says that they want everything organic looking, I sure do a lot of measuring. I mean, I wanted it in the center of the path that goes into the garden. So I think I got that. Now I'm just gonna see how far it's away from the beds. And I put on Steven's sweater because it's getting cold. It's after dinner now, so the sun is gone. It makes it a little chilly. Let's see. So I don't know if you can tell, but it is not perfectly straight. It is a little lower on the right side than it is on the left. So it's just a little bit off. And I'm gonna need Steven's help so that he can lift that side and I can scrape some of the ground away and then we can set it back, and I think that would work that way. But Steven isn't here right now, so I'm gonna have to wait and do this tomorrow. So for now, I am going to call it a night and I will see you in the morning. Good morning, guys. You have no idea how happy this weather makes me. I spend every second I can outside. Anyway, Steven is working from home today, which means that around lunchtime probably I might be able to convince him to help me out with this by lifting it up as I explained yesterday. But until then, I can get started on adding this to the sides here. So this is what the plant's actually going to grow up against. It's a chicken wire, chicken fence kind of situation, and it's 41 centimeters wide, which is also the width that I made here. So if everything goes as planned, this will fit exactly in between these two posts. It's also 5 meters long, so by my calculations, I should be able to go over it completely. You know, you never know, especially when I do any calculations. So I'm gonna have to unpack this and like roll it out to see if my plan's going to work. Oh, it bends quite easily though. Oh, this might not be as hard as it looked. I feel like I'm gonna have to roll it out completely so that I can lay it over the arch. How far can we go? Can I do this by myself? Ha, it's totally long enough. I think I'm just gonna start on this side, gonna make it as high as I want it. Then I'm gonna pull it really tight bit by bit. And then at the end, I'm gonna have to cut a piece of it off, which is very good because I was a little afraid that I might not have enough, but I definitely do. I'm using this staple thing, which I'm not absolutely sure that it's gonna hold. I also am not absolutely sure I have enough staples. Ah, well, that's a waste. Well, if you're just gonna miss every time, what's the best way to do this? Are you laughing at me? This was science. Perfect. I did it again. I totally forgot that I was filming things. But what I did is I made a very simple little makeshift step out of some scrap wood that I had left. And then when I was digging to like sink it into the ground properly, I found bricks. There were bricks under the ground. And I used them here on the side just to give it a little bit more stability and make sure that the dirt's not going to fall out. Kind of hoping that I'll find another one because there's one broken, so that's only half a brick. Anyway, I am going to get started on that little wattle fence on this side so that I can finally put all of the wood chips in this area as well, because I've been waiting for that. I would use up all of the wood chips that I still have, and then I know exactly how much I still need to get. So let's keep going. I have this piece of a fence. It's only this little bit of that fence, and I really wanted to use it somewhere here, and I was actually planning on putting it there and then have my peas grow up against it. But then I moved it there and then set it down just so that it would lean against the arch so that I could move it further. And now I'm kind of in love with how it looks, which is a problem because it's not supposed to go there. But it looks so cute. Look how awesome that is. It's also a little bit weird, maybe. I'm gonna have to move it to the place that it originally was going to just to see if maybe that's still better. I guess it's mostly weird because it's just one piece and it would only be on this side, right? It's weird, right? I'm gonna move it to where I think I wanted it. See how that looks. Oh, it's so heavy. I would have to move these raspberries. This was the idea, not crooked, of course. Okay, so that also looks really nice. Now imagine it not being crooked. What I was thinking is that eventually I can close off this part of the garden so that the dog can actually run free without a leash, without going into the road over there. And this would be a start and it would be functional because I would be able to grow things up against it. Perfect. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. To determine where the border had to go exactly, I drew a line in the dirt using a stick. I removed the mulch that was laying there. It was really mostly there just to dry out anyway. Used my shovel to remove the dirt, following that line, and then I stuck these bamboo sticks into the ground and cut them off at the height that I wanted the border to be. To create the actual wattle fence, which of course you can make way higher if you want, just by using longer bamboo sticks, you simply braid the willow branches along the sticks. Just make sure that if the first branch starts at the back of the first stick, then the second branch should start at the front, and so on. So this will keep the sticks in place and your fence straight up. Once you're happy with it, you can cut off any pieces that are sticking out. Just don't cut them too short, as the willow branches will shrink a bit as they dry and age, and you don't want them to come loose. Then I emptied out the last 2 bags of wood chips, which turned out to be a different color than the other ones I had used. But as I said, I had to go and get more. I think now we can finish the path. So with 10 new bags, I was able to finish the path around the 4 garden beds and underneath the arbor. But to do it properly, it needs another good layer on top. But that's for later. Okay, so I'm going to be holding my microphone like this, which is very weird, but I hope that maybe that will reduce some of the wind sounds. I have used up all of the wood chips to finish off the path, and I still don't have enough. So I'm going to leave it like this, though. I think for now, every place that I really need to walk over is covered, and they are quite expensive. So I'm gonna wait a little while, and then later on I will add some more whenever I'm working on the garden. For now, though, I am going to do a couple more things. There are some plants that I still need to plant out, and I've got some herbs growing inside that I want to move outside. And then after that's done, I will show you what it looks like. Okay guys, I'm going to end this video. There is a lot more that we could be doing, but it's not going to fit into this week anymore. So I really hope you enjoyed it. I am very happy with the result of this trellis archway thing. I'm very patiently waiting for the beans to grow up against it. But for now, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.